Hey, good afternoon. Bruce Becker here from the kitchen. Just demonstrating a few of the values of upstrokes we could get inside some paradiddle or paradiddle-esque stickings. And those would include, from the single paradiddle. And if we take the fundamental movement, we would have down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And notice I'm getting a nice strong pull and snapping the stick tip off the pad on the upstroke. And the same thing would apply to a double paradiddle, which actually is a little easier if you do it in eighth note triplets because those downs and ups will fall directly on the quarter note pulse. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And I'm using a little bit more of what I would just deem as the molar move. And my firm definition of molar would be now basically relegated to it's a locomotive action. If you know how to make the stick kind of be propelled with a locomotive action and your hand is set up to induce a tonal quality and an ease at which you can get that out, then you're in the right spot. There's a lot of different definitions, but suffice it to say, that's what I would say. Whether you're doing French grip or your German grip, you're getting a locomotive action to that. The forearm is assisting in walking the stick up and letting the stick just characteristically bounce once you get that initial downstroke. So, that being said, in my double paradiddles, I'm sticking to that kind of move. I could do wrist strokes, come back with a pull from the wrist. That would be another way to do it, and I certainly would investigate that as well. I want to get a total view of all movements, whether it's wrist, fingers, or the full forearm. Anything that has to do with holding the drumstick, we want to basically investigate and see how we can acquiesce to the most efficient, effective way of propelling the stick. So with the downstroke upstrokes, essentially what you have on that double paradiddle again is a down to up and down to up in eighth note triplets. I would suggest that when you do something like that, that you speak out the movement and see if you are spot on with your upstrokes being right on 2 and 4. That's a real big advantage, to speak out the clarity of movement, to make sure that you are in sync with that movement. You might be surprised when you start to say it. You might find things to get a little bit out of character or a little bit out disheveled. The other thing I might add is that while I'm playing an upstroke on 2 and 4, I should also be able to get a nice touch on the downstroke and not get suckered by gravity. In other words, don't let gravity sucker punch me into having to come down with a large note or a large dynamic or an accent. Basically, the height and the direction of the stick do not necessarily dictate the dynamics. I can get a soft down from a higher position. I can get a big stroke from a lower position. So all good fodder for developing a good sense of control. And my theme for this is what I call tap dance vignettes, to get a little bit of an essence of what a tap dancer would basically be utilizing in terms of how they come off the floor and into the floor. You can't just be throwing your foot into the floor. You'll crack your ankle. So, in a similar light, we want to be light on the pad and make the sticks dance, so it's real easy to kind of utilize all the principles that would be naturally inside or inherent into paradiddles, double paradiddles, triple paradiddles. Anything that has doubles and singles mixed in. There's a whole range of things. So, you could play that single paradiddle and play, or the double paradiddle, I'm sorry, in triplets and play 1 inley, 2 inley, 3 inley, 4 inley, accenting just the downstrokes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then flip it to the upstroke. 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, back to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 inley, 2 inley, 3 inley, 4 inley, 1 inley, 2 inley, 3 inley, 4 inley. Okay, how do you get that upstroke? Well, there's some inside the hand stuff going on there, and that's the stuff that I deal with daily with all my students, to build and reshape micro adjustments inside the hand to make it more efficient, effective, and get a better tone. Tone is everything. If you're not letting the stick breathe, then you're not basically going to get that drum set to sound as beautiful as it should. And that's what we're after. Guitar players do it, trumpet players, every instrument is working on tone and trying to get the best of that instrument to come forward. So we as drummers, we're not just slugging it out on a drum set. There's an element of tone and acoustic value that you want to be in touch with. And that requires that you do know how to get off the surface and open up the tone of the drum. So anyway, Bruce Becker here for the tip of the day. Know how to work your upstroke accents. See if you can get a better sense of swing to that. Hope you enjoyed that. See you down the line. Bruce Becker, tip of the day from Woodland Hills. Peace.